Dobrowieczór, I hope you guys are doing fantastic. I'm Mysticle and I'll be bringing you the latest in AR and VR news. As usual, you've got chapters down below to skip to any specific part of this video that you might be interested in, and with that being said, let's get right into it. So, first thing we've got is the official release of v67. As you might know, our Quest devices have currently been able to access v67, which was a rather large update, through the PTC, which is the public test channel. However, not everyone wants to be enrolled in the public test channel, and a lot of people would much more prefer wait for the official release. Well, that's now out, and we have a little bit more in it than was originally thought, including the fact that it upgrades eye tracking for Quest Pro users. So first of all, we've got the new window layout. In case you guys don't know, v67 is rather large because it actually allows you to place 3 windows anywhere in your view. That's right, they don't need to be docked anymore. It's the first major change Meta has made to our window layout and the UI, which is fantastic. It's what a lot of people have been waiting for. And secondly, we've got that Quest Pro eye tracking. In v67, Meta says it has made further improvements, though it isn't specifying exactly what those are. The company recommends recalibrating eye tracking to see the new benefits. Always nice to see Meta improving eye tracking on a device that may not have sold as well as they would have hoped it would. Quest 3 will also get the ability to scan QR codes to join Wi-Fi on v67 in case that's something you guys are into, and swipe typing is no longer experimental, so that's been taken out of experimental features, and now you can swipe type without having to turn that on. Do Not Disturb timer has been added with v67. You can now turn on Do Not Disturb for a specific duration of time, muting notifications so that you can focus on work or enjoy an immersive experience in peace. Immersive media continuity, so with v67, Meta says you can now open Quest TV or use the file viewer to watch immersive videos without quitting the running VR or mixed reality app. That's pretty cool. So you could technically have a video running here, like a playthrough say, and jump back into your game, come back and the playthrough will still be there. Creator content in Horizon feed. Meta says you'll soon start to see videos from content creators in your Horizon feed, the default interface you see when loading up a Quest headset. That certainly something that I might want to get in on. Who knows? You guys might be able to see me there, even though I'm not partnered with Meta, so I'm not entirely certain how that's going to work. v67, quite a nice update. A lot of people have been loving it. Let me know whether you already have it down below. Now, let's move on to GTA San Andreas. GTA San Andreas VR was announced, who knows how long ago at this point, and we haven't really heard much about it. A lot of people think it may have actually been cancelled, which is, well, a fair thought at this point. Meta announced this back in 2021, that it was working with Rockstar Games on that port. Well, a recent comment made by the company over the weekend sparked renewed hope that the iconic open-world video game was still in development. Meta was quick to delete the comment with no further explanation, which isn't exactly confidence-inspiring. So yeah, Meta actually made a comment underneath a YouTube video replying to a person asking about GTA San Andreas, basically saying, hey, we're still working on it. Of course, it seems like that isn't something that they should have posted because it was deleted soon after. I mean, if it were true, if they were still working on the game, why would they have deleted the comment? You can look at this in 2 ways, I guess. Either they deleted the comment because they weren't supposed to speak about this game or this collaboration, and they weren't supposed to reveal any information about it, or someone made a mistake and commented without actually knowing whether they're still working on it. Then someone came out and was like, hey, we're actually not working on this anymore, you need to delete this comment. Basically, it could have been an intern's mistake, or it didn't even need to be an intern, if you know what I mean. Would be interesting to see GTA San Andreas VR actually come true, as that is one that a ton of people were waiting for, and even today, people are still asking Meta about it. Any Quest mixed reality application can now disable the boundary. So, in case you guys don't know, this was actually a rather large issue with mixed reality titles, where the boundary would still be there and still get in the way. Whereas with mixed reality games, you don't really need the boundary anymore because you can see your walls. Well, that is, unless something is obscuring them. But you can see your walls, you can see where in your space you are, so therefore you don't really need that boundary anymore. And yet, you still needed to have it for mixed reality apps. Since v57 of Meta XR Core SDK, select whitelisted developers have been allowed to disable the boundary. Now, with the v66 of the SDK, any developer can do this. The only catch is that the boundary will only be disabled while pass-through is being rendered, i.e. in mixed reality. Full immersive VR still requires the boundary, which makes sense for safety reasons given you can't see your surroundings. This makes perfect sense, and you can actually disable the boundary inside your Quest if you have access to developer settings. It's not recommended for obvious reasons. Horizon Worlds Mobile will soon be able to access every single Horizon world out there. This comes soon after the news of Meta Horizon Worlds now launching in every Quest official supported country, which means that a lot more people are now able to access the service. Meta first launched Horizon Worlds on web and mobile in beta almost a year ago in August of 2023. It was limited only to a single world at first, the Super Rumble FPS developed with professional tools by Meta's first-party studio Oro Interactive. And over the time, Meta has added web and mobile support to more worlds developed by Oro and contracted external studios. Now, all worlds, whether developed by users inside VR or professionals with desktop tools, are available on web and mobile. Worlds that are specifically optimized for web and mobile will now show an optimized tag, but you can still join worlds that aren't. So this is sort of similar to VR chat, even though in VR chat when a world wasn't optimized for Quest, well, you just couldn't join it. But it would tell you before that whether it was or wasn't optimized. I can see this tag being a little bit something like that. Rather than locally rendering the world on your device, Horizon Worlds on web and mobile appears to use Meta's cloud streaming technology, likely originating from its 2019 acquisition of PlayGiga. So there you guys go. In case you use Horizon Worlds on mobile or on web, you should now be able to access a whole ton more worlds. Now onto some sad news, as Meta will finally be pulling the plug on Quest 1. Note, this doesn't mean your Quest 1 devices will die. It just means that Meta will very soon be releasing its final security update for Quest 1. Quest 1 hasn't been receiving updates for a while now, software updates that is. It has still been receiving security bug fixes, but very soon that will cease. Meta has sent out an email to Quest 1 owners on Friday, stating the 2019-era Quest will no longer receive any security updates or bug fixes starting August 31st, 2024. While users will still be able to download and play supported apps, the company notes that if any security vulnerabilities are discovered in the future, private data that is directly stored on the device or accessible from it would be at risk of compromise. This makes perfect sense. Most manufacturers do this. Phone manufacturers do the exact same thing and usually offer only a certain amount of years for security and bug fixes. The first indication that Quest 1 was headed for the chopping block came in early 2023, when Meta announced that first-party social apps, Parties and Meta Horizon Home would no longer support Quest 1. Then in March of 2024, the company announced it was removing the ability for developers to target Quest 1 for new apps, essentially halting any new games or experiences. It's unclear whether Quest 2 will meet a similar fate so quickly. While Meta hasn't released any official sales figures, the company's 2020 Gen standalone is widely considered the best-selling VR headset to date. To boot, it is still holding the top spot as the most popular VR headset on Steam, with 38.10% of surveyed users using the Quest 2 to play Steam VR games. I personally don't think the Quest 2 is going to see this fate anytime soon. It would be really weird for Meta to kill off this headset this early. Now, onto some really cheap titles for you guys. I know how much you like these, and Humble Bundle is back once again with another bundle for you guys. And in case you want to support the channel, there's a link down below where we get a little bit in return and you pay nothing extra. This one is actually the UploadVR Showcase game bundle, where if you pay at least €9.31 or more, you get Gorn, Tentacular, The Talos Principle VR, Serious Sam 3 VR, The Last Hope, Serious Sam VR The Second Encounter, Serious Sam VR The First Encounter, and Blockhood VR. These are titles where you receive a Steam VR key, so these aren't Quest titles. So in case you guys are interested, Humble Bundle is a great way to get your games super cheap, support the channel, and support charity while you're at it as well. So links will be down below. In other news, gonna fly right past this one as we've spoken about it multiple times, but Tim Sweeney explains why Fortnite has no plans for VR support. We've heard this so many times before. Fortnite still has no plans for VR. To cite, no plans currently. For it to be successful, we'd need a lot of players across all platforms spending a lot of their time on islands whose locomotion mechanics wouldn't have VR players barfing. We've gone from 0 to 1 such popular mechanics, but it's not a critical mass yet. This isn't the first time Epic has actually denied plans in order to introduce VR support to its ever-popular Battle Royale. Sweeney made similar comments in 2022, calling Fortnite the kind of experience that involves intense motion and doesn't work as well in VR. Now, I'm not certain how I feel about that, because you can implement fantastic motion support inside a shooter like Fortnite. I mean, people have been calling Population 1 the Fortnite of VR, and that game is fantastic with its motion support and its gameplay. So it is possible, but it would take a lot of time. Pico, which we have been talking about recently quite a bit as we have leaks about their Pico 4S, is apparently also now opening up its store and getting rid of its App Lab equivalent. Recently, Meta did this and announced Horizon OS, which will be available to other headsets for manufacturers to use. It comes just 2 months after Meta announced the same, that it will merge App Lab into its main store in 2 steps. Firstly, make App Lab apps searchable, and then get rid of the distinction altogether. The first step has already happened. ByteDance-owned Pico says soon developers will be able to upload any apps to its store as long as they pass our platform's tests and comply with local regulations, claiming that apps will have equal opportunities. To quote, "Every app in our store will have the chance to be recommended and featured in user searches and participate in smart distribution. Outstanding apps will have opportunities for editorial picks. Apps currently on Pico Lab, which is the equivalent of Quest's App Lab, will instead have an early access label but otherwise live in the same open store. Pico will also now allow individual developers to sell paid apps. Previously, they needed to have a registered business. The opening up of XR app stores across platforms will come as a major relief for independent developers currently struggling to get reach for their apps and help Pico bring in more content at no cost to ByteDance." So, I mean, pretty good news. I'm very happy seeing these manufacturers opening up their stores and hopefully allowing more titles on there. A lot of people are still saying, we have the hardware, we don't have the content. And the more companies do this, well, the more content will arrive. Hopefully, it's good content though. And finally, we've got the Apple Vision Pro getting its first controller, as Surreal Touch is a 6DoF tracked VR controller for the Apple Vision Pro. Now that is cool. Surreal Touch is a self-tracking controller designed to solve the problem of the Apple Vision Pro's mechanics within virtual reality. It uses 2 fisheye tracking cameras and an onboard chipset to determine its position in space, similar to Meta's Touch Pro controllers, but with 1 fewer camera, and has the same design and control elements as Touch controllers, including 2 action buttons, a thumbstick, an index trigger, and a grip trigger, so something similar. The startup is claiming less than 10mm positional accuracy. It describes this as unparalleled tracking, an odd claim given Meta and Valve targeted less than 1mm for their VR controllers. Surreal Touch is designed to be used either standalone on the Apple Vision Pro using the startup's upcoming SDK, or for PC VR via the startup's Vision OS app Surreal Link, a fork of the open source ALVR with additions such as the interface for pairing controllers. Yang tells us the native Vision OS SDK is already being tested by OpenBrush contributors working on a port. So there you go, the Apple Vision Pro might soon have access to controllers. The issue I'm seeing here is that these aren't first-party controllers. They are something that developers will need to integrate into their app every single time. But there will be a possibility for it, and it's really cool seeing third-party accessories come out like this. Of course, without them being tracked by the Apple Vision Pro, they also need those cameras. But hey, it's a workaround. And if there's one thing I've seen a lot of in VR, it's workarounds, including the fact that they got ALVR working on the Vision Pro, and that's now on the official store. That's really cool. Anyway though, that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you all so much for joining me. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day or night, wherever you are in the world. If you guys like this one, please give it a like. If disliked it, I guess it works too. But let me know why down below. If you guys are not yet part of our community, check out our Discord and our Reddit down below where I want to see you posting your spicy memes. And thank you so much to all the Patrons and anyone else supporting this channel in any way, shape, or form. You guys are amazing. Seriously, much love. You are what makes this possible. And as usual, if you want to be notified of your content coming up on the channel, make sure to smack that subscribe button with forehead, ding my bell, and see you in the next video. Peace.